Date was somewhere in 2015. Quick disclaimer, I didn't have a script when recording the voiceover of this video, so apology in advance if the topic's kind of all over the place, but you're here for this thing anyways, so that shouldn't be a problem. And also, during the editing of this video, FromSoftware released a new patch for the game, which fixes most of the stuttering issue, so expect the game to run much smoother than what's shown in this video. And here's the setting I'm using, 900p and all low except anti-aliasing. Keep it on high to reduce the object flickering. And don't worry, it doesn't affect performance that much. You can keep it on low, of course. Another thing is that I'm only showing this fight because I don't want to give you any spoiler, but keep in mind that most areas and fights are pretty much just as smooth and or smoother than this. And one more thing to keep in mind is that I was losing a couple of frames during the recording. The game runs much smoother when I'm not recording, so expect better performance. Alright, enjoy! I was watching a PewDiePie video. I mean, it's 2015, everyone was watching PewDiePie. And he was playing a game called Dark Souls. And I was like, what the fuck is Dark Souls? But I watched it anyways, and I'm glad I did, because that was my first introduction to Souls series, and I fucking fell in love with it. But the sad part is with how much I wanted to play the game, I have no means to play it. I had no consoles, let alone a PC. So I try to save up my money for as much as I can. In 2016, I got not much, but I told my parents I want to have a PC, and I told them that I wanted it for school. But I never told them that I wanted to play video games on. You know, a couple months after that, they finally agreed and they bought me a PC. But it was not good whatsoever. But it was enough for 2016. But it had an i5, though it was a 3rd gen i5, 8 gigs of RAM, which was enough, and no graphics card. I was playing with an Intel HD 2500, I think. But I tried to be positive. I went to the nearest game store and I bought the game, Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. And now I know what you're thinking. That is not good. But I was broke. I didn't even have a proper internet connection back then. It was horrible. So that was the only way I could play the game. It was no surprise. It didn't really run very well. So if you had any experience with Prepare to Die Edition on PC, you know how that is. The frame rate just capped at 15 frames per second. I don't know, I just played the game. I finished it at 15 FPS all the way through, and I wanted it more. I know that is 15 FPS. I know that sucks. That fucking hurt my eyes. That hurt my head. But I still played it because I loved it. I was enlightened. I was introduced to DS Fix, which is a game changer. But there's a catch. Of course. I've turned off all the settings that I could. I lowered the resolution, and the game still runs at 15 FPS. I was confused. I'm pretty sure most of you know the channel Low Spec Gamer, and he was my savior. And I watched his video, and he showed that there's a lot of things that you can tweak. It was great. I was playing at 360p. It was fucking amazing. I got 35 to 40 FPS. It was beautiful. Now, alright, enough with Prepare to Die Edition. We all know that port sucks. Let's move on. And you wanna know what's worse than playing on 360p? It was the fact that Dark Souls 3 came out also in 2016. With my PC barely even able to run Prepare to Die Edition, there's no way it's gonna run Dark Souls 3. And that was fucking sad. Now that I look back. Fuck. I think it was December 2017. I finally get a job on a whole. It pays good. It's not great, but it's enough. I just bought whatever graphics card that I can afford back then. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before, but I'm dumb. And instead of investing on a better card, I bought a 1050. I know it's sad, but it was nice going from an Intel HD 2500 to an actual graphics card. It was amazing. It was the first time I was seeing what 60 frames per second would look like, and it blew my mind, like how beautiful it was. I know I sound like a pleb, but I'm sorry. That's just what I was. And finally, I can play Dark Souls 3, and I loved it even more than Prepare to Die edition, which is amazing. And then Elden Ring news came up, and then the news just vanished for a couple of years, and we didn't know if it actually real or it's just a fucking I don't know, something like a fart maybe. It just show up and then it just disappears. That was a terrible analogy, but you got the point. And then last year, Elden Ring was confirmed to be real, and a couple of months ago they released the minimum spec requirement for your PC to run the game, and I was like, fuck. I went from really hype to really depressed because there's no way I can play the game. Like, holy shit. And here comes the reason why you watch this video. I'm sorry. It took me way too long to get here. I just went, fuck it, I'ma get the game. I don't care if it run or not. If it won't, I'm just gonna return it and get a refund. And to my surprise, it run really fucking well. Like, holy shit. A 3rd gen i5 that is a chip from a decade ago. I don't know, it's fucking ancient. An 8GB of 1660 megahertz RAM and a 1050. The game ran fairly well. I mean, yeah, there's a dip every here and there, but overall it's very playable. I was surprised myself, and like, holy shit, I can play the game. I mean, to be real, sure, I got to lower all the settings, just turn everything off, play on like 900p, which is surprisingly run better than 720p. Like, what the fuck? But the point is, the game can actually run. The game can actually run. The game run. Fuck English. So if you have like the same spec as that sounds really weird. Even when I changed the resolution to 1080p, the game rarely dipped below 30 frames per second. I mean, yeah, overall you can still play the game at above 30 frames per second depending on your setting, of course. But again, most people who love Souls don't play the game for the graphics. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really care about the graphics. As long as the game runs, they'll play it because it's all about the gameplay and like probably the lore if you're a nerd. I don't know. I once was, but not anymore. Like, yeah, like basically you play Souls for the gameplay. For the gameplay. Fucking English, dude. What the fuck, man? And well, yeah, anyways, I'm surprised that the game runs okay, and I'm also surprised that I can talk for such a long time and says only a few things. It's amazing. So if you're out there, you love Souls series, go ahead and get the game. You won't regret it. Even if it run like shit, you can always get a refund. Okay? Yeah. Go out there, get the game, get your ass handed to you, and have some fun. Take care.